Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to do a whole bunch of stuff, but I do want to talk about my journey being unemployed because it has been a month since I was laid off. Let's just do some makeup. I want to first talk about a product that I think I'm going to give up on. So I started using two new skincare things in my regimen. I first started with this. This is the Laneige Water Bank. I know they just released a new formulation of it because they have a pop-up in New York about it. But I was excited to try this because obviously I have a dry skin. I don't know about this. It is the only, I actually thought something was wrong with me. This is the only moisturizer I know that pills on my skin. And I Googled it and I looked up reasons why pilling could occur. And people said that it could occur because, you know, perhaps the products weren't completely dry before I added the next layer. So I was making doubly sure of that. They said maybe I'm adding too much product onto my face. So I've been really sparse with how much product I put on my face. And still, after about an hour, this product pills on my face. So I think I'm going to stop trying this one and get a new face moisturizer because I was using the Dr. Jart Ceramidin one and it was so good. And you did not need a lot and it didn't pill on me. So I was like, it must just be this moisturizer. And I've also been using the Water Bank cleanser. And ever since I started using it, I've been getting breakouts. Anyway, I've been unemployed for a month. I'm gonna start by using the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. It's taught me a lot being unemployed. Mostly about myself and also a deeper distaste for how the world is running right now. But what it taught me most of all is that I was so incredibly burnt out. I know I had mentioned this in my I got laid off video, but I got a job when I was 15 because I grew up poor, literally poor. And my parents told me they could not pay for outside activities that I wanted to do anymore, like going to the movies with friends or going to buy clothes or going to get ice cream. We just didn't have the money for that. So I started working when I was 15 and I have been working nonstop since 15. I've always had a job. I've had upwards of 4 jobs at a time. And between my last job and the job I just had, I think I had a 2 weeks break, but I was filming a short in the middle of that. So it wasn't really a break. And I realized I haven't ever really had a break since I was 14. I got this advice from a lot of people and it was just to take my time using the Urban Decay Hydromaniac foundation. So I kept getting the advice from people of rest. And originally when I got laid off, I was I'm gonna give myself a week to rest. But then I realized I needed more time. So then I was okay, I'm gonna give myself 2 weeks to rest. And it's been a month now and I have started applying to jobs last week. So I rested for 3 weeks and I needed it. I sleep later and I have more how do I explain this? Before, when I was employed, I was afraid of having time to myself because I felt I was never able to, I was so burnt out from the job. And I wasn't crying from this job. The job before the job I had, I would come home just sobbing, crying. So I thought that was what burnout was. But I was just so tired from the monotony and the bullshit that I could not focus on doing things I liked doing, like writing or reading or any of those things. Playing video games, believe it or not, when I'm stressed, I can't play video games. I literally just have to rot. So it's been so nice to feel I have the mental headspace and capacity to do those things. I've downloaded Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 because I used to love that game when I was a kid and I've been playing that and that's been so wonderful. And it's been nice to just I felt guilty about doing these things at first, but now I don't feel guilt anymore because I realized that's what I needed. I think now what's scary about being unemployed, I'm starting to apply to jobs and I got a career coach because the job that I was laid off from set me up with one on them, which was nice because I definitely can't afford to pay for a career coach myself. I'm unemployed. But she was teaching me these tips and tricks and do you ever have a moment where you're just what the fuck? It felt very much like that. Because now, they want me to chat GPT everything. They want me to, that's how you make resumes. That's how you make cover letters. And now companies will take your resume and put it into this resume matcher that puts the job description on one side and your resume on one side, and based on keywords it will tell you if it's a match, and if it's under 80 they pretty much don't call you, which is insane. I'm gonna take some of this Dune from Persona Cosmetics. I haven't used this in a long time because it's pretty dark, so let's just go with this. So I found a job that is pretty similar, like almost identical to the job that I just did, and I looked at the job description, I looked at mine, and I thought I'd come up with like a really good, using ChatGPT, using my own stuff, because obviously I'm not just gonna take a ChatGPT resume, I'm gonna like edit it myself, and it was like a 34. And I was like, it's literally, I'm telling everything that was on the job description I've done before, and I just put it in my own words, and that's like not cool anymore. And that's kind of crazy to me. So I had to edit my resume 4 more times to add more of these key phrases, and some of the key phrases were like level. Like that's a key skill. What the fuck does level mean? It's just been a really humbling experience. And also like a little bit of a really scary experience, because so many people are getting laid off right now. Paramount laid off 800 people. Riot laid off people. Everyone seems to be laying people off. Google, Facebook, all of them. Meta, whatever the hell it's called. And so I'm now trying to find a job, and so are thousands of people. And everyone being like, there's jobs out there, there's jobs out there. Kind of no, because at my last job, what happened was like, I essentially trained an AI to take my job. And this is gonna go into my like AI portion, I guess, of this video. That's been something that's really kind of terrifying to me, is AI. My friend and I, my friend Chris and I, we used to have a podcast that we deleted from the system a while ago. But we had talked, we had one section about like NFTs and AI and artificial intelligence, and we were both really terrified of it. What does it mean? Like, what does it mean that my job is done by a computer and then I'm gone, and the company spends less money on a computer than they would on me? What happens when everyone's jobs are gone because they want to save money? I read this book. I actually had to stop reading it because it was a little too close to home. One of my favorite authors is Kurt Vonnegut. He's an older author, but he has this book called Player Piano, and he wrote this in the 1950s. And Player Piano is all about a world where machines, because it was during like industrial revolutions, not like the Industrial Revolution, but like industrial and technological advances. What happens when literal machines take the jobs of people, and what happens to those people, and who still has a job? And it's like, when we put profit above everything else, this is what happens. It's a really scary world to be in, because like I was denied unemployment because I got a severance, so I have to reapply to unemployment, but that was really difficult to even get. I couldn't get anybody on the phone for unemployment when I had to speak to somebody. I had to call the governor's office and ask them to get me through on a back line. It's like scary. It's scary because, you know, like there's, in New York State, there's a cap on how much you can make for unemployment, and luckily like I'm in an affordable apartment. Like I got a rent stabilized apartment, and so like that will cover that. But it's starting to be like, okay, I've been spending this time being like, I'm gonna work on my art. I'm gonna work on writing. I love writing, and I do, and it's so great. And now with AI, Tyler Perry just said that he's not going to do an expansion on his thing, because why would we when AI is happening, and AI is becoming so advanced so quickly. And it's like, at what point are there going to be no jobs left? At what point are we going to stop caring about creativity? At what point are we going to start caring about people? Like, when does it just become like profit machines? Not to fearmonger, but I also like want to talk about real shit on here. I'm more than just a makeup page, and I kind of like, I saw this video on TikTok where people are like, oh, people are just, they're like regurgitating the same thing, and content is becoming like the same thing. And I hate that. I hate like not being authentic in like who I am for content. So this is my my completely unfiltered self, and I'm very political, and I'm very untrustworthy of companies and billionaires, because they never will, and they will never, and they have never. It's like a monarchy system. The monarchy doesn't care about the common person. They can't see them. It's the same thing about the company. They don't care about the common people because they don't see them. So that's been a big stressor in my life. And then there is the added, like, now that I have my resume and I'm applying to stuff, even though everything is so crazy that's happening in the world, and I'm having to do this shit while all of this is happening, is what do I want to do with my life? And that's what like the career counselor had asked me, and I like nearly threw up when she asked me, because like I don't know. I went to school for theater and I went to school for history, and I love both of those things so much. It's funny, I've been like, not that I got a degree in BFA tech, but I did a lot of tech when I was in college, and a lot of lighting tech. I even took a design course on it, and I'm doing some lighting this week, and it just feels like, man, it feels like home. It feels like coming back, because my friend is directing something and she asked for my help to light it. It's basic, it's minimal, it's no big deal. I'm not focusing or anything. I'm not hanging. Everything's already on a grid, but it's so nice, and it feels like, but those kind of things don't pay well, and it's difficult to get their gig jobs. And I used to work for a theater company, and I've become a little, ooh, that's pigmented. I've become a little jaded about the whole profession from working there, because the politics, it just gets to me. Like, why? Why are things this way? I don't know. So I do love acting. I do love the performing arts, but I've fallen out of love with it. And I cannot afford to not have health insurance, because I've mentioned on here I do have like health problems. Though the hole in my ear that I had healed itself. I don't need surgery, which is crazy. I actually cried when I got that news. And then history. I love history. I love history so much. If you guys don't know, I have like a TikTok where I just talk about history. And I remember pre-pandemic, I had a podcast with my friend, and we would just talk about history. And somehow I had 2 jobs, and I was working 50, 60 hours a week, and auditioning and doing all these things, and I still had time to sit and research a topic to talk about. And what's been difficult is finding the love of researching again. Like, I love history, but it's also, the history I like to talk about is really depressing, because I think that's the most important history to talk about. If we don't come to a reckoning about what our history is, there is no possible way we can make the world a better place. So I like had the full intention of like, oh, I'm gonna research and I'm gonna post a history TikTok like once a week, and you know, I'm gonna do that because I love history and I love doing that. And while I have the time now because I'm not employed, I should really be working on my passions. And I think that's like, I don't know if every unemployed person feels this way, but I feel like I'm not doing enough ever. Like, I apply to jobs, but I'm still not doing enough. I edited my pilot, I'm still not doing enough. I had a reading of my play, I'm still not doing enough. Like, nothing just ever feels like enough. And I think for so long I've like gotten validation through my job, like, oh, I'm hitting goals, and oh, my manager said I did a really good job, and oh, I'm taking on more work than I was supposed to, but it's okay because the company comes first. And now you don't have that validation, and you have to self-validate. And like, I'm in the process of like, I hopefully want to do a video on this where I talk about Freddie and Truge Oversteegen, because I'm writing a play on them. And I had a reading of it and it went great. And I found a book about them. It's hard to find because they're sister Dutch assassins, so a lot of the literature that they have is in Dutch. And a lot of things centered around when the last of the sisters died. And so there's like, it's hard to find books in English about them. But I finally found one and like changed my perspective on like what I wanted to do and how I wanted the play to look, and it was so exciting. And I'm like rewriting that, and it feels good. And at the same time, like, everything seems a little meaningless. Yeah, I'm doing all these things, and that's what I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to be a writer. I mean, for as long as I can remember, I was writing stories in notebooks. Yeah, and now it's like, it just feels like, one of the things I love about theater, I love about art, I love about writing is like, you really get to express yourself and express some of the frustrations you have with the world around you. There's so much wrong with the world. It's so depressing. And when you don't feel like art even matters because you put money over art now, like, I don't know. It's been hard to find the drive to do that, and I've been applying to like residencies and fellowships and grants, but then I have to talk about myself, and I don't know. I'm struggling, obviously. I'm also just gonna let whatever the hell I want to happen. I thought about applying for jobs in the history sector, but they all don't pay a living wage. And also, like, I want to research what I want to research. I want to talk about what I want to talk about. I don't want to research like medieval European history. Like, I really enjoy the things that nobody wants me to study, to search out. And then, like, you know, I love doing this. Like, I love sitting, talking about life. I love watching people talk about their life and just like kind of forgetting all of the bad stuff for a second. And it feels like there's this push to be like, we should just content create, we should just monetize, we should just like monetize all of our hobbies, we need to monetize it, we need to money. And it's like, oh, I don't want to do that either. I don't know what I want. This blob is not gonna look the same on each side. So anyway, I don't know what I'm gonna do with my life. I don't know what I'm gonna do with my life is what I've discovered. I mean, like, those are all a lot of negative things. Like, the really positive things that have come out of being unemployed, like I mentioned, is that I have time to read again. I love reading and I get to read again. And I've been reading a lot. I actually had to up, so I have a Goodreads and I have like a goal. I'm halfway, I read like 5 books. My goal was 6 for the year because last year I read 4. And now just got 2 more books from the library. I got a library card. Library cards are a wonderful thing. So there's been a lot of good and happiness. It just feels like I wish the prospect of finding a job wasn't so hopeless. You know, like, I have so much to be thankful for, but I still want to be able to be angry. I've also started watching TV shows, like TV shows I used to watch when I was a kid, well, or that I always wanted to watch. So I watched The 100, which is a very interesting show to watch in today's political climate. And after seeing the planetarium show at the Museum of Natural History, which was all about like, there's no planet B, and then the nuclear apocalypse happens in the 100, and they have a backup on Earth after like 200 years when it's no longer super irradiated. And I'm like, oh, it's a very good, and here's my analysis on the 100. It's a good show overall. I'm not a super big fan of who they cast as the lead. I think her performance left a lot to be desired, but I enjoyed the idea of the story, and I really enjoyed the supporting characters. Their character growth and their arc were really, really nice. Kind of funky. Kind of like that. Just wanted to do a little something something. I also never know how to end these videos. I have a lot of anxiety about making them because I'm like, who wants to just listen to me ramble about like whatever the fuck I'm deciding to ramble about today? I never know how to finish them. I do plan on doing monthly check-ins on like my unemployment because I hopefully like want to look back one day and after it's all over and see who I was when I was unemployed and when I put myself first, and try to keep those lessons after employment. I'm gonna quickly do my brows and my mascara, and I will get ready to say goodbye to y'all. So yeah, guys, this is the completed look. I went mute for the last half of it. But thank you guys for tuning in and watching these videos. Thank you for supporting me and all of that. And just thank you for like being friends. Like, thank you for letting me sit here and talk about things with you. Thank you for commenting things. Thank you for giving me the space to just be myself. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.